evening, this afternoon. I would love to know whereabouts are you coming in from. Welcome aboard. Nice to see a few of you here today. Got Craig in the house, Daniel, Jesse, Scott, Florian is here. Florian's from Belgium. What time of the day is it over in Belgium? I'd love to know. 11 a.m. Good morning. Good morning, Florian. All right. We've got Daniel in the house. Daniel, what part of the world are you in? We're going to make this a little bit interactive. So if you are watching the live, simply let us know. If you're watching the live on Facebook, simply just hashtag live or hashtag replay. And if you've got any questions, just type them into the chat box as we go, and I'll try and answer them as we're going through the webinar. And so I'd love to know where you're coming in from firstly, and if you've learned NLP before, please just put a 1 in the chat box if you've already learned NLP previously. If you've never learned NLP before, chuck a 2 in there. If you know a little bit, but you've not done any official training in it, I'd love to know, just so I can try and support you all. Craig's done it, Daniel's done it, beautiful, good, good, good. So I'm hoping that this is going to help some of you start to apply some of the stuff that you have already learned. And for those of you who have not learned NLP before, hopefully this is going to provide a little bit of insight into what NLP actually is and how it can help you in your business. So a little bit of background about myself. My name is Julie Thompson. I'm an international coach and trainer of Neuro-Linguistic programming. I've been around the NLP space for probably about 7 years. I've been an international business coach for the last 10 years. And once I stumbled across NLP, it really helped me transform the way I was doing my business. Also helped me transform my own results. So I had a personal and professional transformation by going through the process of learning NLP. And it really helped me quite significantly in so many areas. And so I love to just help and share and bring some of the stuff that I utilize on a day-to-day basis in my business to really help you understand how you can utilize the power of NLP and what it is. And for those of you that don't know what it is, I'm going to share a little bit more at the back end of this webinar. And if you're interested, I'm here to support you on your learning journey with NLP. So before we go ahead, before we talk about the power of NLP and how it actually helps us in business, I want to talk about some of the key elements that keeps people stuck in business. So we're navigating a world where things are so fast-paced at the moment. Some of you might be just new in your business journey. And some of you might be a little bit further down the track in your business journey, but there's something that tends to keep people stuck in their business. One of the biggest things, and I share this because I literally work with clients across the world every single day in business coaching. And one of the biggest things I see right across the board is fear. So fear of what will other people think, fear of putting themselves out there, fear of failure, fear of being crushed, fear of the competition, fear of what if it doesn't work, or what are other people going to be thinking of me, all those sorts of things. The other thing I see a lot of is self-doubt, is they think that they're not good enough, or they compare themselves to the competition. Put your hand up if you're somebody who scrolls through Facebook and watches what every other coach out there is doing, and then you reflect on yourself thinking, gosh, what makes me so good, or why should they listen to me? So that happens a little bit in business. So it's fear and doubt that keeps people stuck. And it sometimes can paralyze people and stop them from even trying. Another thing that also happens is lack of self-worth. So if you're somebody and your business, say if you've been in business for quite some time and it's just not working, one of the underlying factors can be happening is actually a lack of self-worth. Now, that was a big wake-up call for me before I had my transformation through NLP. And I share this because, if this is something that is keeping you stuck, please, give yourself permission to do the work to go through and work out what any of that sort of stuff might be. There was a time in my life where my personal relationship, my intimate relationships weren't so great. My bank account wasn't so great. I was working round the clock. I was probably working about 80-hour work weeks, running a business. From the outside looking in, I looked like I was super successful, but underneath the surface, I literally had a bit of self-worth issues going on, and things weren't as good as what they seemed on the outside. And that was keeping me stuck. And NLP really helped me push past that threshold for myself. Another thing that happens is lack of action. So who here's pretty good at procrastination sometimes? So if you're a serial procrastinator, sometimes lack of action, and you might even find, if you find yourself wanting to take action, but sometimes you're not actually taking action, Or you're probably very busy, but you're doing a lot of the wrong things. Like you're not doing the money making activities or the needle moving activities in your business. So sometimes it's a bit of a self-reflection and actually checking ourselves out, actually keeping tabs on ourselves and asking ourselves, like, are we actually producing and doing the actions that we should be doing? Another one that I see happen is a conflict in values. So if your values are, yeah, Florian's like, yeah, I can relate to that one. I'm so glad. Thank you for, sharing or, putting your hand up there, because I want to share a story with you. I was working with a business coaching client. She came to me, she reached out for coaching. She said, look, I'm having some troubles in my business. It was going great. And then all of a sudden, like the wheels are falling off. And she was making 40,000 US dollars per month in her e-commerce business. The business was super successful. She had a great product. And all of a sudden, something happened and the wheels started falling off in her business. She reached out to me for business coaching. The very second session I had with her, the first session was all about finding out about the business. Second session we had, the first question I asked her, I said, tell me something. What's the reason why you created your business in the first place? And she said to me, can I be honest with you? I said, yes, please. And then she said, I did it to escape my marriage. And then I said to her, what's going on in your marriage? And she had been having marital problems for about 7 years and was looking for a financial escape from the marriage. So she created a business based on wanting to escape the marriage. So the whole entire values of the reason why the business was created, was out of alignment. And then what happened unconsciously, this was very much outside of a conscious awareness, all of a sudden the business is super successful. So then the reality of having to walk away from the marriage, that kicked in, and she wasn't ready to face that and tear her family apart. And so what did she start doing? Sabotaging the business. So if there's conflicting values, perhaps your highest values might be your family and your children and your relationships. And then sometimes doing business activities might be conflicting with some of those other values. If your wife gets sick or your partner or your children get sick, you're naturally going to do those activities first and tend to those needs of your loved ones because it's high up in your values. Does that make sense? And so your business activities might take a second turn. Now, there's no right or wrong in this. It's just that NLP helps us identify what some of those values might be. So another thing that I find very often in business that leads to failure is a lack of clarity. This happens on the daily. I literally work with hundreds of clients right across the globe, and I see daily that they just don't have clarity around different aspects. So it could be there's a little lacking clarity around the particular avatar in a business. It could be the clarity around the actual product or the service, or maybe the burning problem or desire that it solves. The other might be, what is the actual goal? What's the outcome that the business is moving towards? And so if there's any kind of lack of clarity in there, it's going to be really hard to kick the goals. And so this is where clarity is a huge piece. And so one thing that we do with all of our clients is we start with the end in mind. We actually get super clear on what are their biggest goals, what are their biggest dreams, who specifically are they serving, what particular problem are they solving, how does their program or product or service actually help, and what are the specific point of difference that makes them stand out from their particular audience. So having clarity around all of those things is super helpful. And then the third part is strategy. So it's having the right roadmap for success. I know Craig's here, he's in the digital space, so he helps businesses actually organize their social media strategies. You might have a lead generation strategy, or you might have a client conversion strategy, or it might be that your KPI strategy is out, or your tracking strategy is not quite working. So it's really about having clarity, but also having the right strategies. And so something that I do on the daily with my coaching clients is I identify what are their strategies and are they rock solid? Because you could be filling the top of your funnel, and I've seen this happen in lots of businesses. They generate tons of leads, but they're not getting client retention, right? And who's seen this in the business space? They know how to get clients and sign hundreds and hundreds of clients, but they're falling out the bottom end. And that's usually that there's something wrong with the system and they've got lots of flaws in their bucket, and people are just going to fall out the back end. So making sure that you've got the right strategies in place in your business is also super helpful. Any questions on this piece before we move further forward? All right, so let's switch gears. Let's stop talking about failure. Let's start talking about some of the good stuff. So the first step is really to understand yourself. So all of your results are driven by your behavior. So if you're not getting the results that you are desiring, whether it's in your business, in your relationship, with your health and wellness, it's what are the behaviors that you're doing that's producing that specific result. Or the question might be, what are the behaviors that you're not doing that's not producing the results that you're looking for? And so all of our behavior, for those of you who've learned NLP, actually happens at the unconscious level. So we behave based on how we're feeling, our state, our physiology, and what we're thinking about at the time. And for those of you who have learned NLP, reality is merely just a construction. So it's based around our filters. We are born filter free. So this is why Huhi has children, by the way. You've probably heard them come out with some amazing, beautiful sayings, and they have no filter, right? They just say whatever's on their mind because they have no filters, which is beautiful. But then over time, society kind of molds us into what's right, what's wrong, and then we establish these filters, which are then they filter our reality, and then they become our internal representation and our thoughts and our feelings, which produces the behaviors, which produces the results. So for a lot of people, if they've got any kind of limiting beliefs, those beliefs are probably not true. They were probably just adopted somewhere along the line. So this is why a lot of people, and Henry Ford has an amazing saying that whether you think you can or can't achieve something, either way you are right. So because you believe it to be true for you, right? So this is an invitation to question your beliefs and question the results that you're getting. Why is it that you're getting that? And what are you thinking and feeling around that? And if you do have beliefs that are not serving you, this is an invitation for you to actually reach out to somebody who can help you, change those beliefs. So when it comes to business, then the very next step, so the first step, and I was speaking to one of my fellow coaches today about this, is before any strategy or tactic, we have to first make sure that we are operating from the right place. If we've got limitations, if we've got limiting beliefs or conflicting values, doesn't matter if we've got the best strategy or the best tactic, if we are not operating with the right mindset, then the strategy is not going to work. Would you agree? Yeah. So we've got to work on ourselves first to make sure that whatever we're spending our money on to work with a coach or to get the right strategies, we've got to make sure that we're in the right mindset so that we can handle that. The third step is understanding your client. So similar to us, your client has their own filters, which is operating their way of doing things. But who here, out of a show of hands, is in the service industry and works with clients? Who here is a coach? Yeah. So whether you're a coach or you have a program or product or service, it's about understanding your client, because your client is going to behave or make decisions based on their internal world. So the idea is, how do you communicate with your client? How do you understand your client? So when you're sharing your product or your service, the goal is to communicate directly to your client's emotional state, because that's their decision-making capacity. So you've got to get into their psyche. You've got to understand what is their internal dialogue. What is their language, their attitude? What is your client's belief or values? What's important to them? Supposing if you were selling a holiday package, you might be selling a holiday package. Now, dependent on what the client is looking for, the client might be, I'm so burnt out, I just want to go and relax. So that client might be more inclined to take a cruise package or go and sit in a resort and do nothing. Or you might sell to somebody who's like an extreme sports enthusiast, and their idea of a holiday is bring out the helicopter, grab the snowboards, let's go jump off the highest mountain and throw in some kayaks while you're at it, right? And so two completely different holidays, but it's understanding, how do you connect to your client's emotional state? What are their values? What's important to them? You might have a client who's got a couple of children and they just want the place that's got the kids play camp or play center, so they can go and enjoy a nice romantic dinner with their wife or their spouse while the kids are playing at being fully looked after. So it's really understanding, what is it that's important to your client? What are their values? What are their belief systems? It's the same as if you are a coach and you host a group coaching cohort. Each of the clients in your cohort are going to have different values. Some of the clients are just there for the strategy. They don't care about the community. They're going to come to you because your strategy has been proven to work and Bob and Jane have got results on your strategy. Other clients are going to come in because they want to rub shoulders and connect and network with everybody else in your community. So there's two different, like they have two different values of what's most important to them. Does that make sense? So how do you find out what is important to your client? Then you've got to be, really identifying what is it that your clients are focused on. So there's positive or negative. Now, some people are going to be driven more towards positive language or away from negative. So clients are either wondering, is it going to help them get away from their pain points or towards what they're looking for? Now, some people are actually motivated by the pain, others are motivated by the reward. And you also want to understand, what is their current focus? Are they thinking that they can or can't do something? So if I'm working with a client and they have all the belief system, like they are unstoppable, they know that they can absolutely achieve whatever tasks that I give them, then I'm going to motivate that person in a different way. It's going to be very much towards motivated. I know that they have the belief system that they can do it. So my goal is just to keep them accountable with the milestones and make sure they're hitting all their marks in the program. If I'm working with a client who thinks that they can't do something, then that client's probably going to need a lot of positive reassurance along the journey. Does that make sense? So I'm probably going to have to remind them, you're doing great. This is good. You can do this. Let's try. And for that particular client, it's going to be more important for me to set them small, achievable goals. So I'm going to feel their unconscious belief system that they actually can achieve it. Does that make sense? So if I overwhelm them with the bigger goal, they're going to feel so overwhelmed, they're going to think that they can't do it. Whereas if I'm giving them the smaller tasks to actually achieve, we celebrate the reward, we feel the convincer along the way for that particular client. Some of them are focused on their problems and some of them are focused on solutions. So this is where if a client is focusing on their problem, you want to be able to speak into their problem. You want to speak into their pain points. You want to be able to recognize it for the client. If some people are looking for solutions, you want to continuously use language that's based around their solutions. Does that make sense? Yeah. And some people are motivated by pain and others are motivated by pleasure. Now, for me, my natural coaching style is very positive. So I usually use a lot of positive dialogue, a lot of reinforcement. Now I have, in the hundreds of clients that I've coached, I have had clients that are motivated by pain. And I have to adapt my coaching style when I'm working with them because they don't respond to the reward. They don't respond to the celebrations of their wins. I've had clients who, I'm basically pushing to try and get them to move and achieve things. And there was one client and she just wasn't getting any traction until I got quite aggressive with her and I put her into her pain points. And before you know it, she was getting massive results. And so it's like, okay, this client's motivated by pain. I basically need to get the whip out on her and continuously remind her of what she's moving away from and what the consequences of her actions were going to be. And she was getting amazing results. If I coached her that way, it wasn't my natural style, but I had to adapt the way that I was coaching her. Another one is their awareness. So I'm a highly visual person. So if I'm working with a coach, in my mind, I want to see where I'm going. So I'm very visual. I'm going to visualize where I see myself being able to go on this program. Others are going to be, I hear or I feel or I think or I understand. For those of you who've learned about the different rep systems in NLP, some people are visual, some are auditory, some are very kinesthetic. So how do you utilize language that's going to speak into that for your client as well? And the other one is their state, their energy and their intensity. Now, I work with all different types of clients across the globe. Some of them are supercharged, high vibration, very highly energetic people, and others are very soft. They're like, hey, slow down because you're freaking me out right here. And so I've got to slow down my energy to kind of make them feel supported along the journey. Who here recognizes when you're working with people the difference in their energy, right? Sometimes you can mismatch their energy and you can put them off or freak them out a little bit. Does anyone have any questions here about speaking to a client's emotional state? Okay, cool. Welcome, Aldwin. Nice to see you here. Very cool. So how do you utilize NLP in your copywriting, for instance? So a lot of what we do, a lot of us are navigating the online digital space now. So how do you supercharge your copywriting by utilizing NLP techniques? So the first one is understanding the client's mind, know what they're thinking. Are they seeing? Are they visualizing? Are they feeling? What are they hearing? For auditory people, you want to be using specific keywords embedded in your language. Speaking to their emotional state. So you must speak directly into what is it that's going to move them. So whenever you're promoting your product or service, you're either speaking into away from their pain or towards what they want, or you're speaking directly to their problem or the solution that they're looking for. So when you're doing your marketing, try and be mindful of that. Is what problem is this solving, or what solution is this helping my clients get, or what are they moving away from, or what are they going to move towards? When you're optimizing their decision strategy, I'll speak into this a little bit further in detail, but that's understanding that they have a specific decision-making strategy, which is different for every single person. So for me, if I'm making a decision, I probably, I've gone a lot more from visual to AD minded now, but what that means is I want to see your program. So if you're talking to me and trying to sell me something, I'm just going to say, hey, show me, send me something. I want to take a look at it, right? So I want you to send me something, and then I want to read through it, and I want to see how it's going to go, and then I'll make a decision to see if I think it's for me, then I'll decide if I want it or not. Other people, they might just want to jump on a phone call with you because they want to hear your voice, they want to connect in with you, see if they vibe with you or not, and then they'll make their decision from there. So being able to flex your communication style is going to be a really strong foundation for you to build and practice over time. And try speaking to all of the communication types, which I'll share with you in just a moment as well. Also in this webinar, I'm going to teach you how to discover the secrets of language using some NLP, and also how to achieve sustainable success as well. So I'll dial into these in just a second. So optimizing a client's decision strategy. There's a thing called the format system. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it before, but the format system is basically the why, the what, the how, and then the what if. So whenever you're sharing something, the client is always, who here has ever seen somebody stand with their arms folded? You're speaking at them and then they're sort of like, hang on a second, I'm not sold yet, or I'm not convinced. They've got their arms folded usually, and all that means is you've got to bypass that critical faculty. Once you bypass it, you'll see them start to relax and go, oh, okay, so tell me more, and they'll relax their body posture. So what's going on in that client's unconscious mind is they want to know, why should I listen? What's in it for me? Why should I take a look at this, or what's in it? So you want to get past that why piece first. So maybe asking a 3 yes set question. So, hey, would you love to grow your business? Yes. Do you want more clients? Yes. Do you want me to show you a strategy that's worked for 10 of my other clients that have got them, 10x results in their business? They're going to go, yes, yes, yes. All of a sudden, they're going to relax and they're going to get excited about what you're about to share. And then the what piece is, what is it? What is it that you do? And then you might say, well, hey, I'm a marketing consultant. I'm going to teach you and your team how to utilize effective social media strategies to make sure you're being seen and heard in the marketplace. How would you like that? And I'm going to go, yep, that's cool. And then we're going to go, well, what is it exactly? It's an 8-week program. Me and my team, we come to you and we do this and this and this and this. And then the how piece is, how are you going to deliver it? How does it work? And then that's why, for those of you who are in our business coaching program, we teach you how to prepare a pitch deck. And it's very specifically designed to go through these particular things. So the how is the overview of what you're going to take them through. I had a good friend of mine actually, and a fellow coach, sell me into her retreat program recently. And she did a wonderful job. She was, telling me all the beautiful things about it. But my AD part of my brain is thinking, well, how does it work? So she's saying it's a 3-day retreat. She told me all of the things that we're going to experience. But you know what she didn't tell me is, well, where are we sleeping? Are there beds on site? How many bedrooms are there? Is there a bathroom? Am I in a shared bedroom? And so in my mind, I'm like, hang on, you haven't answered all my questions yet. So I needed to know the how piece. Where is it? How many nights are we going to be there? Who else is going to be there? Do I get my own room? All that sort of stuff. And then the if piece, that's the what if. Like, what if I want a refund? What if I want to learn more? What if I want to invest today? So that's where you have something that they are ready to buy. So their decision strategy might be, they want to be able to see it, hear it, feel it, see themselves there, and then decide. So imagine if I was selling you a retreat in the rainforest, and the language I might utilize is, if I was going to utilize this strategy, for instance, I might say, visualize yourself out in the forest. Hear the sounds of the birds echoing through the landscape and feel your feet on the forest floor. Now picture yourself there. You want to come, right? So I'm taking you on the journey of really going through there. Slightly different depending on what your program, product, or service is. But I'll tell you something, for when you're trying to feed into all of these rep systems of a client, this is why a visual aid is so powerful. A website, a Facebook page, something where people can go and check out your stuff. And you want to have a visual aid or a document of like, what exactly is it? Because if I was your client, I'm going to say, can you send me something? And then literally you're going to send me a link or a PDF or whatever it is, so I can actually see it. And the hear it piece, for those who are auditory, they want to actually either speak to you or speak to your salesperson, or they probably want to hear a couple of testimonials from your clients to hear what was the experience that that person had. So testimonials are super powerful for when you're in business. The feelings piece, this is why people love to get a gut feeling of you. So they either want to speak to you or your team, or they might also want to listen to some testimonials to see the vibe, how other people, like what was the feeling or the experience that other people got. And then they want to see their future as well. AD is more information based. So they're the people who will probably want a lot of information. They probably want to talk to you. They probably want to see your program, and they probably want to ask you lots of questions. Then they'll probably want to go away and think about it, have a few more questions, come back, and then they'll decide. So AD people, they might take a little bit longer to sell to, but they're good clients to work with because they help you cover all the gaps in your marketing funnels, because they'll ask you lots of questions. So effective communication, this is just something for your own interest. 43% of people are mostly visual, 30% are auditory. So the auditory people, they will probably want to jump on a call with you or listen to a couple of testimonials. So they want to speak to somebody, and they're going to pick up on particular keywords as well. 5% of the population around the globe, they're kinesthetic people. Unless you work with a super spiritual community, you probably have a lot more kinesthetic people in your audience. So they want to connect. They want to feel in rapport with you. They want to get a vibe from you. They probably want to feel a strong relationship with you. So for a kinesthetic person, if they're in a group program where there's barely any touch points and it's all kind of do it yourself, a kinesthetic person probably doesn't want to do it yourself program. They probably want to be part of the community, if that makes sense. And then 22% of the population, they're highly AD. They love facts, figures, data, answers, questions. They want to research. They want to do all the things. It's good to have a couple of AD clients because they will keep you on your toes, which is great. So discovering the magic of language, this is where if you can flex your communication style, you'll become really great in business. You really will. So utilizing all of the rep systems, making sure you're speaking into visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and AD. Tailor your copywriting so it speaks into them. Again, for those of you who are in our business coaching program, there's a reason why we say do 4 pieces of content per day. So you'll do a question. That's to get interaction. That's for the people who love connection and community, right? They want to interact with your stuff. It's also going to help you boost your algorithm. The visual people, they're probably going to get bored with a long form written post. They'll probably pay attention to the picture and the headline. So for a visual person, you've literally got probably about 2 seconds to grab their attention. So unless the image is a pattern interrupt or the headline is a pattern interrupt, if you're just doing long written forms of content all the time, you're probably going to lose the visual people because they're not going to read a lot. Same with when you're doing live videos, and it's interesting because I've been having this conversation a lot recently. My background that I've got here, this is a wall banner that I utilize. However, I do a lot of my videos in my office and I get sick of it after a while. There's no more stimulation because I'm seeing the same thing over and over and over again. So you want to change up your content to keep visual people stimulated. Again, AD people, they probably like reading blog articles. They probably want to know What is this? Why is this? Tell me some stats, educate me, teach me something. So if you're a bright and fluffy person, the AD person probably wants you to go a little bit deeper and give you some stats. So be sure that you are utilizing all the rep systems and keeping your content a little bit creative, if that makes sense. Craft compelling stories. Stories are really good because people connect into stories. And when we're sharing a story, we're connecting into something that another person can relate with. So using metaphors, telling a story, you want to motivate the audience or take them on a bit of a journey sometimes. Building strong connection and rapport to your audience is also super helpful. So if you are somebody that's sharing stuff out in the marketplace, connect with your audience every so often. And you'll notice a lot of the bigger companies do this. For instance, say the iPhone, they'll bring the version 3.0 to the marketplace, but then they'll see what they'll see what the feedback is. They'll see what's working, what's not working. They'll see what people are saying. They'll get the negative and the positive feedback, and then they'll reiterate they'll upgrade the version and they'll bring it back new and improved, if that makes sense. So feedback's super important. Try not to take feedback as a negative. If you're getting constructive feedback, it's actually a positive and it's going to help you improve your product or service. Embedded commands, I'm going to share with you in my next slide. I'm going to teach you how the power of language is so super crucial to getting into the psyche of your client and creating something in the client's mind, either moving them towards or away from things. You can utilize anchoring techniques in your language as well. And you can also frame or future pace. So frame where they might be at or what they might be feeling. And you can also future pace where they might see themselves going as well. Any questions on this piece? Okay, cool. So here is a little example of, I helped one of our clients create this. He was a coach, he was a coach that works with men who wanted to craft a piece of copy that's really speaking to a man, because that's his client, right? So he was talking about visionary men. Are you ready to own your destiny? Ready to shatter the chains that are holding you back? It's time to command your life and forge your path forward. Join me for a free training, which is crafted for those who are committed to their evolution. This isn't just another event, it's an invitation to unearth your warrior. And then it says here, mastering your mindset, silence the doubts and fears that are holding you back, cultivate an unbreakable confidence, build resilience, navigate life's challenges with strength and grace, and turn obstacles into gateways for growth. Embrace your authentic self, break free from societal expectations, and embrace raw essence of your masculinity. Now you'll notice the words that I'm using here, and I've highlighted them. You won't actually put it down to print with these highlighted words, but I've actually put them in there and highlighted for you which ones are embedded commands. So the ones that are in red and bold, they're embedded commands that are sort of speaking to the masculine man. So it's own, command, committed, unbreakable, strength, grace, tactical, visionary, exclusive. The word exclusive creates that exclusivity, transform, unleash, command, and choice. These are very masculine words, by the way. So by sprinkling them into his particular copy, he's activating this masculine essence within the reader. Now you'll also notice that there's other embedded commands in here, which I have underlined for you. I'm not sure if you can see them on the screen, but it basically says here, it's time. So that's an embedded command to enforce action, like now is the time. And then it says, silence the doubt, right? So he's speaking into the part of the man that might be doubting themselves, and silence that inner critic, silence that inner voice. Break free of expectations, right? So he's speaking to the part of the man that feels like he's so overwhelmed with society's expectations of him that he wants to break free from that, right? So you'll notice we've crafted this copy where it's away from and towards in the same sentence. And then we've put here exclusive insights from a seasoned expert. This is speaking into an AD-minded person. And then this one here is unleash the dormant potential within. So this is a man who wants to unleash himself and he's feeling like he's just stuck. Does that make sense? So this is a very meticulously crafted piece of copy but it actually sprinkles in embedded commands. It speaks words that are very masculine because that's his client type, but it's also speaking into where they might be now and where they want to go. So, and you can do this the same depending on who your audience is. If you're speaking to a spiritual person, your copy can take them on a journey. It can help them visualize where they want to go. If you're speaking to a mother who is, trying to, get through childbirth or, find her life after her kids are now at school and she's trying to get back into the workforce, you can utilize different types of words depending on the journey that you're trying to take a client through. So you're always speaking into a client's unconscious mind. Does that make sense? Yeah. Florian, I can see you getting some, interesting insights out of this. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to share as well. Now, who here wants to boost sales? Who here wants to be able to convert more sales? Learning this technique it's super simple. It's a super simple 5-step process, but it works. And the reason why it works is the first step is you've got to build rapport, right? If you don't have a rapport with a client, then they're unlikely to purchase from you unless they actually desperately need what it is that you've got, right? So if you've got the last loaf of bread and this guy's going to feed his 5 kids, he's going to buy the bread. He doesn't care if he's got a rapport with you or not, right? But if you're selling a high ticket coaching program, it's important that you have rapport with the client. So building rapport, get to know them, get curious about your client. I will say this, the more you know your client, the better results you're going to have with a client, 100%. You'll be able to push them when they need pushing. You'll be able to support them and celebrate them for their wins. You'll be able to stretch them. And the deeper the rapport you have, the deeper you'll be able to go with them and challenge them at their boundaries. Asking lots of questions. So the power of questions is really to establish the need. So you want to ask questions that are really going to uncover or discover exactly where the client is at, exactly where the client wants to be, and what is it that's missing? What's stopping the client from already having what they want? And then the goal is to find out, how does your product or program or service fill that need? Does that make sense? And then you're linking your product to fulfill that need for the client. And then the most important piece is ask for the sale. I had a gentleman fairly recently, interestingly enough, actually, I've had 2 people in fairly recent times. One person took me through, I was coaching him. He took me through his program and I helped him tweak his pitch, right? I helped him tweak his discovery process. His discovery process was that good, it actually exposed my need for his service, right? It really exposed the flaws of what I was doing and exposed my need for his service. And then he forgot to pitch me. He didn't even pitch me at the end. And that was his own fears or doubts or limitations that came up. And I was like, wow, you've just totally allowed me to see how much I need your service, and he didn't pitch me, right? So always ask for the sale. The other one was an interesting one is there was a guy who I was really looking for to help me build out a software platform. And I had earmarked this person because I knew how good he was at what he did. He was an expert in his field, and I knew how expensive he was. I kept my eye on him for 12 months until I could afford to work with him. And then when I was ready to work with him, I reached out, and then I said to him, I said, now tell me exactly how this is going to work. And he had no pitch deck, and he filled me with no confidence. And I was like, wow, interesting. And then I didn't end up buying from him. And I had him earmarked for over a year. So really interesting is, build rapport, ask lots of questions, establish the need. If you don't find the client's need, then they're probably not going to buy from you. So as soon as you can identify their need for your program or product or service, once they're aware of it, they're just going to go, holy crap, I really do need your help. And then you'll be able to work with that client. Now, just using this particular process has helped me increase my conversion rate to nearly 90%. And when people don't say yes there on the phone, I can guarantee you within a couple of weeks, they call back, because we've really exposed their need that they can't stop thinking about it at night. And so they end up ringing back. And Other thing that's really important is how do you get better results with your clients? Now, this is a really super important piece. If you are in business for yourself, you want to get results with your clients, right? You really want to get results with your clients. Who here's ever been down the street, going out for breakfast, and you see there's a lineup out the door in one cafe, and the cafe 2 doors down is absolutely dead, right? Who's experienced that before? So obviously the cafe with the lineup out the door, the clients are having a great time there. They're getting a good rapport, good feedback. The clients are obviously enjoying the experience. The other one, maybe not so much. Now, the same thing happens in the world, in society, in all different business models. If the clients aren't happy with the service, you're not going to get the referrals. You're not going to have a successful business. So it's your job as a business owner to ensure that your clients get results, if that makes sense. Number one is building strong rapport, because the stronger the rapport, the more you can push them to get better results. The second one is always use SMART goals with your clients. So if your clients are having success and getting wins on your program, then that's when they're going to stay on the program. They're going to keep on pushing, right? So if you've got a client and they've got a big goal, your goal as their coach is to give them a smaller bite-sized goal so they can get some smaller wins. Does that make sense? So you always want to set SMART goals. Make sure they're specific. Make sure they're measurable, achievable, they're relevant, and they're realistic, and they've got a time approach to them as well. Number 3 is personalize your approach. So dependent on the size of your business, and dependent on what your program or product or service is, if you're a coach, this is where this really comes in, is personalize your approach for that client. Tailor it based on your client's unique patterns, their language, their behavior. Again, like I shared the story, the way that I was working with that client, she wasn't responding. All of a sudden I started giving her the hard person, and she was responding. I was like, okay, she likes that way, right? I felt uncomfortable, but that's me of stretching my approach and learning how to flex my coaching style. Number 4 is discover their values. Now, this is a key piece, because when you understand your client's values, you can actually utilize their values to help them get better traction towards their goals. I've worked with a lot of clients with a lot of different goals. Okay, cool. Thank you, Daniel. I just saw your message. So discover your client's values and utilize them. Capitalize on their strengths as well. So if you've got a client that is really great at one thing and not so great at another thing, help that client flex their strengths as much as possible, because we're all great at some things and we all are not so great at other things. But this is where NLP really comes in, is the more you can work within your genius zone, the more you'll be able to create a lot more with less energy. So it's about understanding what are your unique strengths, how do you capitalize on that, recognize where you fall short, and that's where later down the track when you're building team, is that's who you want on your team. You want the person that's got their strengths in where your weaknesses are, because that's how you're going to achieve a lot more with less, if that makes sense. And also help your clients model success. So the fastest way you can get to your success is find somebody who's done it before you, who's done it successfully. Now, this is a key piece of gold that I'm sharing with you right now. If you want success, don't reinvent the wheel. Go and find the top 3 people who've absolutely aced it in the industry. Find out what have they done, why are they successful, what are they doing that makes them successful, how are they doing it, then apply it, work out what if it doesn't work, and what do you need to do to make it work. Trust me, that's going to 10x your speed in the way that you can achieve success. Yeah. Any questions on this? Okay, cool. Was that super helpful, by the way? Yes. Cool. I hope you all got a few little gold nuggets out of that one. For those of you who have not learned NLP or want to freshen up your skills in NLP, for me, it's been an absolute game changer in my business. It's what I do. It's what I love to do. We offer world-class training and certification. We do triple certification training programs. We do practitioner. We also offer master practitioner. We even offer trainers training level of certification. So depending on where you're at in your journey, we invite you to come and, reach out to myself, learn from us. Our practitioner training, our next one's kicking off in August, August 19th it will be. It's 6 full days. It's a live interactive thing, so it's not do it yourself. It's fully interactive. It's run live via Zoom. You get access to all of your pre-study materials. You can go at your own pace. It's a triple certification program, so it's internationally recognized certification. So for those of you that either want to just sharpen your own skills or want to learn how to implement NLP in your business, or even if you want to utilize it as a coach, your certifications are recognized internationally, so you will be qualified as a coach at the end of the training as well. You get access to manuals. There's additional study materials in there. You also get, we throw in a couple of extra bonuses, so you'll get a month of free coaching with myself post-training to help you implement what you know. And then you also get a couple of free ebooks, and you get a 6-month access to our Inner Circle group coaching program as well. It's about $8,000 worth of value. We offer it for $4,000. Now, I'm going to give you a super exclusive deal. So we've got an early bird special, which is available. You guys can literally get it for half price, savings of $2,000. You can do it upfront. You can do it on a 10-week payment plan or a 20-week payment plan if it's a little bit more affordable for you. Our goal is to get as many people as possible into the trainings to help them really implement stuff into their business or become certified as coaches, and literally just help more people out there. So I hope that is super helpful. If any of you want any more information about our training programs, feel free to either send me a DM message or reach out to us on Facebook at Advanced Mind Academy. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. If anyone's watching the live on Facebook, please feel free also, if you've got any questions, to reach out. And I just want to say a massive thank you for those of you who jumped on and joined us on the live. Alvin, nice to see you here. Stacey, good to see you. Florian, great to see you as well. And Jessie, Tracy Maud in the house. For those of you who haven't done NLP, it's worthwhile and beneficial. Yes, thank you so much, Craig. Craig recently did our NLP practitioner training, and he's also going to be joining us in our master practitioner training in October. So our next practitioner training is happening in August. We've got master practitioner happening in October. Trainers training, we think is going to be towards the end of the year. So for those of you who, Alvin's also done our training as well. Thank you, beautiful soul. Genevieve on the call with us as well. Genevieve's also done our NLP training. So quite a few of you in the house, which is amazing. Definitely worth it. Thank you for your amazing feedback. So for those of you who've done it before and actually even want to do a refresh, if you've already learnt it and you're wanting to do a refresh, we can offer you a recognized prior learning discount on top of that as well. So any questions, please feel free to reach out. If you've got any questions about anything that I shared specifically in the webinar, feel free to reach out to me, and I can sort of help you implement where you're at, even if it's like you want a little tweak on some copywriting, or you want to run something past and just go, hey, what do you think about this? Or how can I maximize or amplify on this? If you have learned NLP before, ask yourself the question, what am I not yet implementing? Because NLP really is a whole swag of tools. It's not just copywriting and language, but it's everything from belief systems, values, personal development, personal evolution. There's so much when it comes to NLP. So that's just one portion of it, is the language piece. And we only really just skimmed on the surface of that today. So thank you so much for joining me with your precious time this evening. Florian, great to have you in the house. Tracy Moore, nice to see you. Jessie Scott, beautiful. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening. Florian, have a great rest of your day ahead. And we'll see you all very soon.